Wallahi, it will be very beautiful that we come to the mosque and see, let's say, 20 children who want to pray, and then each adult hold the hand of one of them and let him be beside him. Good job, good that you come to the mosque, come pray beside me, mashallah. How beautiful will that be? Because some parents, when they bring the children and they send them to play, it's because they try to avoid the negative body language they receive from others who fail to volunteer to help to make the children feel comfortable. Let's live for the Ummah and consider any child we see out there as an asset for the Ummah. These are the ones Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will want to be proud of in front of other nations on the day of resurrection. And how beautiful will it be when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is proud of your child in front of other nations for his good conduct, for his well manners, for how he observed the sacredness of the symbols of the religion of Allah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to a new video here on One Baba Salam. This is the second chit-chat video we are making on this channel during this blessed month of Ramadan. Today is the 15th day of fasting. In fact, this is the third attempt I'm making for this video. The first attempt and the second attempt, I tried to make them just like the previous one, between Maghrib and Isha. But fortunately or unfortunately, the time was not in my favor. Therefore, I am trying the third attempt, and this is between Dhuhr and Asr at the same location, Masjid City Alam, Shah Alam, Malaysia. This takes us to the next point I need to clarify before we highlight the topic of the discussion. That is, this video is probably going to be a bit lengthy, and I consider making it as ibadah. I intend ibadah in making this video. Therefore, I don't mind repeating doing it until I reach to the satisfaction where I believe it will be beneficial for the good people out there. Therefore, I humbly invite you, that myself and yourself, that we review the intention for watching this, make it ibadah so that it will be worthwhile. Once the time we spend in watching it is intended for ibadah, then it won't be a problem. We won't mind spending longer to watch it and also hopefully find some benefit in it and put it into our life. Moving on, today's topic is one of the recycled topics that the Muslim community has to deal with. The Muslim community worldwide have to deal with depending on the time and the season and the occasion. Some of these recycled topics are annual, some are occasional, and what have you. Annually, like Mawlid. Mawlid topic is a recycled topic that will repeat itself every other year. Birthday celebrations. Now we have the permissibility or impermissibility of Muslims wishing Christians Merry Christmas. This is also this has emerged as an annual recycled topic, and very recently now we are seeing Halloween and Halloween. Allahul Musta'an. Today's recycled topic is regarding children being brought to the mosque or children playing at the mosque during prayer times and some related issues. This topic is supposed to be a daily recycled topic, but it hits up more during the month of Ramadan.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Allow me to highlight that this video is educational in nature, Tarbiyah-Inspired, and Ummah-Centric. As much as it may be applicable to this mosque, it will be applicable to any other mosque all over the world. Even if one is in the remote area or in a remote area as far as the jungle of where we can think of, the content or the discussion or the topic of discussion in this video can be also applicable to their situation. The situation of bringing children to the mosque, children playing in the mosque, and also children turning the mosque as a playground during prayer times.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
A few things that make this kind of topic heat up more recently is the emergence of a few postings on social media, videos and whatnot. The most recent one I have seen is one that has been making rounds for years. In that video, it reads that it's like a poster that is being posted on a mosque, pasted on a mosque, reminding the Jama'ah or telling the Jama'ah about children, noisy children basically. It says, that child you are kicking out of the masjid because of making too much noise. This is someone's translation. Otherwise, the original one is in Arabic. That child you are kicking out of the masjid because of making too much noise is the same child you will beg to pray in the future. Be patient with their noise and guide them gently. And then it was signed by the administration of the mosque. I assume that this post or poster was taken in an Arab country. That's my assumption. I don't know exactly where it comes from. And the second one is a video that shows grown-up children playing football in the main prayer hall of a mosque that is said to be in Turkey. Either way, anyone who knows me personally knows how fond I am of children. Anyone who knows me personally knows how I deal with children, how excited I become when I see children. But that aside, should not prevent us from being responsible adults, responsible parents, responsible educators. And as I said, this video is Ummah-centric. So why don't I just focus on my children? As a Muslim, I consider every child I see in the street as my own. For some reasons I may mention later on in this video. All right. So let's start with bringing children to the mosque.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Let's agree that the point of discussion shouldn't be whether we should bring children to the mosque or not bring children to the mosque. Children must be brought to the mosque. Children must know that they belong to the mosque probably more than they belong to their own homes. One of the things I read is a father who or a child who asked his father, "Oh, my dear father, what do I do when I get lost and find myself in a place I don't know how to go back?" The father simply told him, "Find the mosque." And then the child asked back, "What if I grow up, even if I become grown up, should I still find the mosque?" The father said, "Even if you age, find the mosque." So it starts from childhood. We should bring our children to the mosque. That is not a point of discussion. However, bringing them to the mosque is part of their responsibility. And while at the mosque, what they do, how they behave, how they conduct is part of their responsibility. So bringing and while at the mosque. When we bring them to the mosque, we have done a good job. But while they are at the mosque, how do we handle them? That is also something we need to discuss. When we talk about children being brought to the mosque, we're not talking about babies. We're not talking about babies. MashaAllah. Yesterday, last night, or the night before last night, I saw one parent with his baby girl, MashaAllah. He held her just like it is narrated in the Sunnah. He held her, pray during sujood, he will put her down, and she was very quiet, she didn't cry, and mashallah, she enjoyed the prayer. And mashallah, all around also were quite excited seeing cuteness of an innocent baby. All right, so we are not talking about babies. We are not talking about children who are innocent and may not understand instruction. This type of children, they may crawl, they may still show innocence, they may play. As long as they do not dirt the place, it should be fine. It should be fine. That aside, we are rather talking about children who understand instruction, who understand command, who understand their surrounding. These children, when we bring them to the mosque, we should guide them, guiding them, teaching them, accompanying them, whether they are our own or they belong to the community. Therefore, we don't just bring them and just let them, untie them and let them be whatever they want to be. Inna nafsa la'ammaratun bisu. That is, the soul is usually inspired towards evil. So what tames him is awareness of guidance, awareness of righteousness, awareness of mindfulness. The same thing applies to children. A child is by fitra attracted to playing, but that shouldn't be let it be as it is. It needs to be tamed. It needs to be tamed. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma was born 3 years before Hijrah. 3 years before Hijrah means when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas was 13 years. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas narrates one of the stories of the moments when he was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him some words. Those words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas remains as one of the powerful hadith in guiding children. And Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas was in an estimated age of 7 to 10. At the age, let's say he was 10 years old, what Rasulullah said to him in that hadith, Ya ghulam, inni u'allimuka kalimat, ihfadillaha yahfadhuk. Oh young man, I'm going to teach you a few words. Be mindful of Allah, Allah will guide you, and so on. That hadith, if we were, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to consider Abdullah ibn Abbas as a child, just let him be, he wouldn't have said those words to him. And Rasulullah said it to him, and Abdullah ibn Abbas memorized it right there, and it remained forever until today. Abdullah ibn Abbas aside. Sayyidina an-Nu'man ibn Bashir radiallahu anhuma, he was the first child to be born among the Ansar. He was born in the 2nd year after Hijrah, which means when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, an-Nu'man ibn Bashir was 8 years old. At the age of 8, an-Nu'man ibn Bashir can remember that at the mosque, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say to the companions to straighten their saf. La tusawwunna sufufakum aw la yakhalifan Allah bayna wujuhikum. You better straighten yourself, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause differences in your hearts or among you. An-Nu'man ibn Bashir, 8 years, of course, we cannot assume that he heard this hadith at the age of 8 when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. So that means he was much younger. That was An-Nu'man ibn Bashir. At the mosque, just imagine he was led to just play. Will he have heard this hadith? Definitely not. And when some argue that, oh man, come on, these are just children, let them be. Children learn while playing. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says to a young man, a child, on a dining table, Ya ghulam, oh young man, Sammillah, say Bismillah before you eat. Wakul biyaminik, eat with your right hand. Wakul mimma yalik, eat right in front of you. Don't eat like a chicken. Rasulullah could have just let him be. Oh, he's just a child. Just let him eat anyhow. Eat like anyhow, like we see some parents do today. The child, he or she will be running after the child, feeding the child. Running after the child, feeding the child. Believe it or not, if we instill on our children to ensure that they sit down before they eat, even that will have positive implication on them, maturity, focus, and whatnot. To that extent. So a child who is guided while eating can easily be guided when he is brought to the mosque. So when we have to run after the child before he eats, that means we will have to run after him at the mosque. We will have to run after him. The teachers have to run after him at the school. And when he grows bigger, we have to run after him, and we'll not find him. Before we throw in, oh, these are just children, he's just a child, let's pause for a while and ask ourselves, compare between two children, one coming to the mosque and praying properly, mashallah, sometimes so inspiringly, and another playing like he is in the playground. I mean, between these two, and these two are available, these two are evidence. While we are discussing about children who play and turn the mosque as playground, we have to admit and acknowledge and in fact commend children the same age as those who come and turn the mosque into playgrounds, who they come to the mosque and mashallah, they pray calmly, they pray nicely, they pray respectfully, and you wonder, how did they turn into that? So let's one just ask himself, these two, which one will I prefer? While we are saying, oh, let them be, and who cares? No one should care about it. In all honesty, I will prefer a child who will come to the mosque and pray. Therefore, when I come across a child who will play at the mosque, I will try to guide him. I will try to remind him. I will try to even pull him to the soft sometimes. For the same reason that we should not discourage children from the mosque, because the poster is saying, oh, the children you are chasing out of the mosque, is that the meaning? The children you are chasing out of the mosque are the same children you will be begging to come to the mosque in future. For the same reason we should encourage them to come to the mosque, is the same reason when they come to the mosque, we should guide them. What does this mean? We are afraid if we discourage them from coming to the mosque, now that they are still small and they are still young, once they grow into adolescents, teenagers, it will be hard to talk to them, convince them, and make them come to the mosque. The same thing. Now that they come to the mosque, this is the time they can listen to us. This is the time we can talk to them. This is the time we can guide them. This is the time, no matter what, they have the high tendency of listening. This is the time for us to guide them. If we fail to guide them today, and they fail at this age to realize the sacredness of the mosque, and to realize that, look, this is the best place to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the best place to attain calmness and peace and tranquility. When they grow, teenagers, they will think that the mosque can be turned into a disco. They will think that the mosque can be turned into a football park. They will think that the mosque, you can organize music band in the mosque. And whose fault would that be? Whose fault would that be? This mosque behind me, this mosque in which I'm shooting this video, they have dedicated zone, dedicated area for children to play. So much so that outside at the corridor, they will put a big display for children who are allowed to just do anything they want, to be there, watch if they want to watch. They have sliders for those who want to play sliding and what. Yet, some of the big ones who will prefer to go and play, they will still boycott there and run into the main prayer hall and turn it upside down while people are praying. This is not acceptable, and something should be done. And what must be done shouldn't come from the mosque management. It should first come from us, the parents, and also from us as community. Parents' responsibility and collective responsibility. It takes a whole village to raise a child. They say it's an African proverb. Whether it's African proverb or wherever proverb, it is valid. It takes a whole community, a whole village to raise a child.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Although it is a challenging task to train a child to pray properly, to pray nicely, calmly, it has some benefits. And here are some of those benefits. First, when we teach the child and guide the child to learn to behave at the mosque, first he learns to pray. That is the first thing he will learn, to pray. How can he learn to pray when he plays? So when we guide him while at the mosque, first he will learn to pray. He will learn from us, he will learn from others, he will learn from the imam. So that is point number one. He will learn to pray. He will learn also to focus for some time. This child is with us the whole day, and he will be playing around, jumping around, doing all he can. And for the 5 minutes he will pray at the mosque in normal prayers, if that is the only time he can focus, then 5 times a day will definitely make difference in instilling in him the arts and the ability to sit still for some time, to focus for some time. We don't learn focus while sleeping. When we sleep, we just recharge and rest our body. But we learn to focus while we are awake. And prayer is one of the avenues for one to learn to focus. He will also get the opportunity to learn to be calm. To learn to be calm. If we are able to guide our children to pray properly while at the mosque or even at home, it will instill in them the quality of calmness. They will learn to be calm. When they get angry, they won't show tantrum, or they will show less tantrum. They won't throw things. They won't break the windows. They won't hit us. If we are able to teach them when they come to the mosque to pray instead of playing. And that will take us to the next, which is they will learn to behave in public. When a child knows that during prayer, I should pray, that means he knows that during chit-chat, I should listen or share respectfully, or just show good conduct while in public. And during prayer, it's one of the avenues to develop and instill that in the child. The next point of lessons or benefits our children will get when we guide them at the mosque to pray is that we will do their teachers a big favor at school. When our children learn through masjid, through prayer time, to behave, to be calm, to focus, to listen, to sit down for some time, to focus for some time, all this will reflect at the school. When they go to school, the teacher will not have a hard time getting the child to sit and listen. If the child doesn't listen, how can he learn? How can he learn? So that is another point. And when we succeed in getting them to pray at this age, they are likely to pray on their own as they grow. But if we bring them to the mosque and they think that the mosque is just like any other playground, the mosque is just like any other public space, then why should they come to the mosque if other public spaces are more attractive? Why should they come to the mosque? But if they know that the mosque is a place for spirituality, it has sacredness, for attaining tranquility, they will come for it, they will look for it by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Now here are some of the disadvantages, some of the harms, or some of the damages, if I can use those terms, that will occur when we bring our children to the mosque and fail to guide them accordingly. First, we will deprive them, we victimize them. We deprive them from learning to pray, and we are responsible. When I bring my child to the mosque where everyone is praying and I fail to make him pray, to let him pray, I'm depriving him from learning how to pray. That is number one. I am also depriving him from learning to realize that the mosque is a place that has sacredness. The mosque is a place that has sacredness. Yes, it has sacredness. Doesn't mean that other activities cannot be done at the mosque. The mosque has washrooms. A washroom is not a sacred place. Between the praying hall and the washroom are some facilities. You have library at the mosque. You have play zones in some mosques, this mosque included. You have pantries. You have eating place at the mosque. So what we can do in the main prayer hall, we cannot do it in other places. What we can do in other facilities of the mosque, we may not be able to be doing it in the main prayer hall. Sacredness. So when we fail to teach them to learn to pray, after depriving them from learning to pray, we're also depriving them from realizing the sacredness of the mosque. The third damage we are making is that they cause bad influence in other children who are trained to pray. Because children, naturally, they incline to playing. But with training, we can get them to pay attention, we can get them to focus, we can get them to be calm, we can get them to be still. Therefore, we can get them to pray. So any child we see who prays nicely, it didn't happen overnight. It happened through trial and error, through attempts of failure, until the parents achieved that. But they still remain children. They still remain humans with that instinct of inclination to play. So when another peer of him comes to the mosque and turn into a playground, definitely he will be influenced and be attracted and want to join. And it will happen as a result of we failing to guide the ones we bring along with us. And the next damage, if I can use the word again, is they cause noise, unnecessary noise, to the public who come to pray in peace. When people come to the mosque to pray, they come to pray in peace. Otherwise, people can pray at home. If a child can understand instruction, can understand command, can realize his surrounding, and yet he ignores all that and jumps around, then it becomes nuance. It is not funny. If a baby cries, it is understandable. If a baby makes noise or goes out of the saf and moves around, it is understandable and can be tolerated. But a big boy or a big girl dancing around, having a machine gun, playing around, that is not as something to be tolerated. So it causes noise to the people and takes away their focus in praying, and we become the cause for that.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Now, one of the things that we can commonly see is, mashallah, some parents, they have children, more than one, more than two, and they bring them to the mosque. They may find a difficulty to get all of them at the same time to focus. This is where our responsibility comes in. We help to make the child feel comfortable as long as he wants to pray. We help to make the child feel comfortable. Wallahi, it will be very beautiful that we come to the mosque and see, let's say, 20 children who want to pray, and then each adult hold the hand of one of them and let him be beside him. Good job, good that you come to the mosque, come pray beside me, mashallah. How beautiful will that be? How beautiful would that be? So if a parent comes with 3 children and probably 3 or 4 children, and probably he may be having difficulty in getting all of them to be still, separate between the children. Help separate between the children, because the closer they are to one another, the likely they are to play. So adults volunteer and be among 2 children or separate between them, and it should be fine. And we can seek the permission of the parent, no problem. We can share the awareness, just like you are watching this video. We remind one another. If one has never thought of it that way, this is the opportunity. You can share the idea with your loved ones, with your friends, with your neighbors, the community, and see how beautiful the mosque is going to be. Because some parents, when they bring the children and they send them to play, it's because they try to avoid the negative body language they receive from others who fail to volunteer to help to make the children feel comfortable. So this is one of the things. As a community, let's be together. And in this part of the world, Africa included, Asia, Africa, we still have the ability to command, to instruct our children. Unlike in Europe and the West, the child is the asset of the state. He belongs to the state, not to the parents. The parents have no right to tell him what to do. The parents have no right to ask him to pray. And the child can be maybe snatched from the parents and be given to to parents of the same gender, to couple of the same gender, all in the name of the child being mistreated at home. But here we still have that luxury. So let's make use of that while it lasts. Let's make use of that while it lasts. Many parents will have no problem to see anyone coming to help make their children feel comfortable at the mosque. But if we want to adopt parenting style of the West, or let the child do anything, he learn on that. Children are not cats and I mean, pardon me to say, animals. Children are human beings that we need. Even animals now, they are trained to perform acts of some sorts. What more of human beings? All right. So the more we show them that, the better it is, and the more we can get them when we need them, inshallah ta'ala.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Now, the other parts of this discussion is when the prayer hall, because one of the videos that has been making rounds in social media, the moment you talk about it, then they will show you the poster of the I showed earlier. or they show you the video, oh look, these people are doing it in Turkey, and then they allow the children to turn the main prayer hall into a playground, into a football pitch. And then they will say, oh, the Prophet ﷺ allowed the companions, some of the companions, to play in the mosque on the day of Eid. On the day of Eid. How often did that repeat? Once in a while, okay, no problem. But turn the main prayer hall into a mosque, into a playground, into a football pitch, that is not acceptable, because it takes away the sacredness of the place. It takes away. That video that has been making around, if you take a look at how luxurious that mosque is, you know that it is not a mosque like it is usually built in a remote area like in Africa. Oh, a small container mosque, and it has nothing else, no facilities whatsoever. Some even don't even have toilets and whatnot. This is a mosque with facilities. Maybe it has a separate library, independent library. Maybe it has car parks. Maybe it has multi-purpose halls. Maybe it has a conference hall and whatnot. And yet, they couldn't allocate a space for the children to go and play football except in the main prayer hall with the Quran, with the carpets and everything. That is not acceptable. Who will turn his bedroom with all the furnitures and allow his children turn it into a playground, turn it into a football, and allow his grown-up children to turn it to be playing football around? Who does that? Turn your living room with all the furnitures, the expensive stuff, and turn it into a football pitch and let your children just bang things and everything and hit the walls, the windows with the football? We may not do that. I'm sure we don't do that in our homes, in our bedrooms. And we allow that in the main prayer hall in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the places where imams are made. Just approach any of the imams. And ask him when he was a child whether he would turn the prayer hall into a football field. So one way to get our children is to, when they come to the mosque, look at it differently. Play all they can, but come to the mosque. Of course, the mosque also can provide place for them to play, no problem. But there are zones for everything. There are zones for everything. So then again, as I mentioned, as far as the mosque is concerned, especially with bigger mosques, with spaces, mashallah, look at this place. This is so spacious. It just it doesn't make sense that this mosque or a mosque of this nature will just think, or just in the name of, let them feel belonging to the mosque, turn the main prayer hall into a football pitch. It just doesn't make sense. And the thing is, but Turkey, some mosque in Turkey. Oh yeah, but some mosques in Turkey are doing it. Why can't we do it? Well, just because Turkey is doing it doesn't mean that it's right. Just because someone in the west or in the east or in the north or in the south is doing it doesn't mean it is nice. It doesn't mean that it is correct. As long as it is not divinely instructed or permitted or allowed, then we can evaluate it. We can seek inspiration from it, no problem. But we should evaluate it. We don't just take it blindly or just because it comes from Turkey. Even with that mindset, just because it comes from Turkey, if we have that mindset, that means we will be rejecting so many good things just because it comes from someone else. So that mindset of, others are doing it, we should be able to do it. It shouldn't work like that. All right? It should work like it is right because of 1, 2, 3, 4, or it is wrong because of 1, 2, 3, 4, or it is a sword with multi-cutting edges, multi-edges. So we see which edge is in our benefit. If it is the positive ones, then we take it. If it's the negative ones, then we let it go, and we are good, and we are good to go.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
If you have watched this video to this point, mashallah, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it as ibadah and reward you, reward me, and reward all of us. Feel free. You are free to agree or disagree. If you agree, nicely share your opinion. If you disagree, kindly and respectfully share your opinion in the comments below. Either way, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, this is just the right time to do that. Hit the subscribe button and let the conversation continue. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our Ramadan. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes this Ramadan our best so far, and future Ramadans our best as they come. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, since we are in the tonight is going to be the night of the 16th night, we are heading towards Laylatul Qadr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us qualify us for Laylatul Qadr if we live to see it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always subject us for good cause, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also grant us the patience we need to tolerate one another. وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. As I make this video, and Allah knows what is in my heart, and He's my witness. Any child I see him and feel him like my own, and we can do that. We can do that. Any child we see, we can consider him as our own, and we do not know who they are going to be in the future. If I see a child who misbehaves, I will, within my capacity of course, I will try to advise him or stop him or tell him what to do, depending on who depending on how he reacts also, because some children you cannot talk to them. Why do we have to approach and be proactive? It's simply because this child, I have two ways. Everyone who will encounter a situation like that will have two options. Either we come in or we ignore. If we come in, hopefully we get a reward for it. If we ignore it, this child may be, if he's a boy, he may be my son-in-law in future. If it's a she may be my daughter-in-law in future. He or she may not be my son-in-law or my daughter-in-law. He or she may be my the teacher to my children in future, or grandchildren in future, or great-grandchildren in future. Ya Rajul. He or she may be a statesman, a policy maker. Because I failed to correct him, and probably he didn't come across anyone who will correct that, and that bad habit remains, so the Ummah has to bear it. Let's live for the Ummah and consider any child we see out there as an asset for the Ummah. These are the ones Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will want to be proud of in front of other nations on the day of resurrection. And how beautiful will it be when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is proud of your child in front of other nations for his good conduct, for his well manners, for how he observed the sacredness of the symbols of the religion of Allah. وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. As a sign of piety in the hearts is to observe the sacredness of the symbols of Allah, to handle the Quran with respect, to treat the house of Allah with respect, to treat the religion with respect, to treat elderly with respect. وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ, to treat the holy month with respect, to treat religiosity and religious people with respect. وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. How beautiful, how honoring will it be for us, our loved ones, and our children to be the subject of pride for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the choice is ours. With that, we have come to the end of this long chit chat. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts it, and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it as a small token with which He will grant us His forgiveness and will qualify us for His ultimate pleasure on the day of resurrection. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا سبحان رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. With that, we have come to the end of this episode of Ramadan Chit Chat, Ramadan vlog, this vlog number 2. Until our next, I leave you in Allah's protection. Wassalamu alaikum.
أتيتك يا خالقي باكيا ودمع الأسى كل حين يزيد فقد قلت في الآي لا تقنطوا وإن تعف عني فذا يوم عيد وإن تعف عني فذا يوم عيد